I was caught a little off guard. Eddie Hearn, who claims he doesn't have a horse in the race, by the way, but Eddie Hearn came out and said he thinks it's going to be Will Fury taking on Jake Paul, and even gave the date, August 13th. And you guys remember back that Jake Paul gave a tease to the audience? He went on social media and he gave a tease and said, I'm back, and I'm back August 13th. But he didn't say where or who the opponent was. He didn't say anything like that. He just gave a date. And then some time went by and nobody really discussed it. But this is more common in boxing than it is in MMA. I like it a lot about boxing, that they don't drag you and make you, the audience, have to wait. They take about 5 weeks, and they absolutely hammer it out. And I swear to goodness, this is a recipe that Floyd Mayweather gave to him. Maybe my favorite thing about Floyd Mayweather from a promotional standpoint is the day that he would, you never knew if Floyd was retired. You never knew if he was in the gym. You never knew what he was going to do again or if he was going to do it again. And all of a sudden, he would drop something in your lap. Floyd versus so-and-so, when they were up in 5 weeks. 5.5 would be the most time that he would give. But I like that as a fan. Okay, great, because I do want to see that. Now I don't have to wait forever. I don't have to wait until the winter. I don't have to wait for a whole whatever to come out. This is right around the corner. So I do believe the August 13th date. I do believe, Jake, where are we getting Will Fury from? Is it just a case of there's nobody else willing to do it? And that's how I feel. Jake Paul is the most feared man in boxing. There is nobody in boxing with a meaningful record or any kind of name or reputation that has called him out. And they're hoping that they don't get their phone to ring. They don't want that. It would be the most attention. It would be a main event, and it would be the highest payday of their career. Everything that they've ever dreamed about, everything that they've ever said that they want could all be theirs. They don't want it. So is Will willing to be the guy that does want to do it? You've heard his brother, you've heard his father, you heard from Will himself. He says yes. Now, he had the opportunity, and he said no. He found a reason not to do it. Should we, the audience, believe him the second time? That's up to you. But Eddie Hearn is the one that came out and dropped this nugget. So I thought that Eddie Hearn must represent Fury. And he's trying to get his guy a fight. Eddie actually went on to say, no, I do not. I have no hand in this. I just have my ear to the grindstone, and this is what I'm hearing. I'm not hearing anything different. Are you guys? I hear a strong rumor that Nate Diaz and Paul would like to be able to make a match. We know that that isn't happening. I'm sharing down the road. I hear a strong rumor to that, but I don't even have confirmation that they want to do that, right? It's just a rumor that won't go away. Now we're hearing a rumor about Fury. Do you guys like it? If you see it, do you like it? Could you get behind it? Because Eddie Hearn, at the same time as he dropped this, went on to say they had equal skills. And he didn't mean that from a positive standpoint. He meant from quite a negative standpoint. He is not impressed with Jake's skills, but he's not impressed with Will's skills. And that's always been my pushback on this. Why is Jake getting in there with a true boxer? Who's young, who's got a lineage, who's handsome, who's got a name. He's got all these different things that the audience that's anti-Paul keeps shoving into his face. Okay, great. He can go check all these boxes off and he can go and prove himself. Why would he do all of that if he doesn't have the ability to get what he wants at the end, which is the respect of the community? Which Eddie Hearn, as a top leader and top leading voice within the community, is openly saying, you're not going to get, you're not very good, and this guy isn't very good, so go have fun. You guys are at least equal in that regard. Like, that's tough. I feel Jake's getting set up. I feel all the media that's calling Jake and has a direct relationship with him and is encouraging him to fight Fury are setting him up. Those aren't actually his friends. And I feel the day that that fight officially gets announced, those very people who supported Jake, this is the one, this is what you need to do. This guy's the right age, he's got the right record, he's got the right resume, he's a true boxer, third generation as a matter of fact. The second that Jake signs the line, they're going to pull the rug out and come out and be what they've really wanted to be in the first place, which is haters to the Paul experiment, and they're going to all come in and say, well, it doesn't matter if he wins anyway. This isn't one of our representatives. This isn't a top 10 guy. This isn't a guy that's got a future. This isn't a guy that was a player for the world or the Olympic team in Britain. This guy wasn't a gold. They're getting ready to do all of these things to him. And it's paramount that whatever comes next for Jake Paul does well. He was a cash cow. He was a numbers game. Those numbers have got to do very well. I don't have any level of confidence that he's going to get that from Will. And I only based that on one thing, that they held a press conference and Will didn't even show up to it by himself. He brought his brother and he brought all sorts of people on stage. And Jake stood there and he still slayed him. It still made for something interesting. But if one guy doesn't want to be there, it's really tough. You ever seen that on the playground? Some kid's banging his chest like he's King Kong. And the guy standing across from him is terrified. And the classmates are all cheering him. Come on, don't be scared. And they push him together. It leaves you with a terrible feeling. It's gross. Two guys either want to fight or they don't. Will has made this crystal clear. He does not want to fight. Don't force him into this. Don't make him do that. Somebody out there within boxing has got to have some level of courage, and even if they don't, they can fake it. They must want the headline spot. They must want the posters. They must want the main event. They must want the money. There's got to be somebody. You don't have to just keep coming to MMA for the tough guys. One of them's got to exist in boxing. Can't we find the guy? It's tough. I haven't heard anything else. I think that if Eddie Hearn drops it and he says, I've got my ear to the grindstone, I would imagine that he does. If he says that Will Fury's boxing with Jake Paul on August 13th, he probably is. Once that announcement is made official, I suppose that we'll break it down and go from there. But just hearing it, just off the cusp, it's a rumor, but it's a rumor that we're going to assume is true until we have otherwise. What do you guys think? Is that the fight you want to see? Fury versus Paul.